everybody, happy Easter, and now it's time for the weekend video. Well, today I'm currently at a friend's house in Florida. I've been here for a couple days. Tomorrow I fly back to Houston. Tomorrow is Easter. Also happens to be my birthday. So thank you for the birthday wishes I've already gotten, and I know I'll get more, and thank you. What I want to talk about briefly, all I want to mention about this past week's Powercast was that we did make a point to talk about the fact that Easter was originally a pagan superstition. It was a holiday from paganism, and somehow it kind of got adopted and transferred over to Christianity, and that's when we technically celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. But yes, it came from superstition, and superstitions are kind of what I want to address today because we've got them popping up new all the time. Let's just take my birthday for example. We could get very superstitious about my birthday because tomorrow is the third time in my life that it lands on Easter. It's already landed 3 or 4 other times on Good Friday. And it probably will again on Easter or Good Friday. Now, I could get really superstitious about that and try to make some meaning out of it that it just doesn't have. It's just, that's how the calendar rolls, you know, 365 days a year. It doesn't divide perfectly by 7. So it just rolls. Well, let me talk about another superstition that has really captured the imaginations and the fears of a lot of people around the world, especially here in this country, and it's about the blood moon. We recently had a blood moon on April 15th, and it's a rare event, only in this, specifically in this case. And what a blood moon is a total lunar eclipse. That's where the Earth blocks the sun's rays from reflecting off the moon, and then the red hue that appears around the Earth, which is the penumbra of the light that is kind of leaking around the Earth. It's a reddish sunset color, and that's the color of light that is reflected off the moon. So the moon turns red. It reflects red like a sunset red. And so they call it a blood moon. And this year we are going to have 4 in a row. Now, total eclipses, 4 blood moons in a row, are a little bit rare, but not extremely rare. We had 4 blood moons 11 years ago, and in a few years to come we're going to have 4 more blood moons, and in the past couple thousand years we've had several hundred. I can't even count. When you get 4 blood moons in a row, it's called a tetrad, and the past couple thousand years we've had several hundred tetrads. They're not that rare. They're really not that rare. So why is this so important? Well, there's some lunacy going on in the evangelical world, and I want to talk about that. If you've heard about 4 blood moons lately, you know why. Because Pastor John Hagee, who is a very popular pastor around the world, he's got a huge popularity around the world. He runs a megachurch in Houston, Texas, and he recently wrote a book called 4 Blood Moons, and it's really titillating because he's talking about some really wild things, like Armageddon is about to happen, and the sign of that happening is these 4 blood moons that are appearing now, the first of which appeared on April 15th. And he says that that is the mark of the beginning of the end of the world. And so he's selling millions of books and just capitalizing and just raking in the money on this superstitious thing he has come up with, saying that that's going to bring on Armageddon, and then Jesus is going to come back. This is the return of Christ and everything. And he blames it, and he uses little things out of the Bible, like there will be signs in the sky and things like that. Well, we all know there were signs in the sky when Jesus was born. And we all know that, at least in the Gospel Revolution, we all know that the last days and the end times were then. So the last days and the end times, what are we talking about there? We're talking about the last days and the end time of the Old Covenant, because the Old Covenant was about to be abolished, and it was through the coming of the Messiah, his death, burial, and resurrection. That's when the last days occurred 2,000 years ago. The end of that world occurred 2,000 years ago. And everything we're hearing about the 4 blood moons is nothing but fiction and fantasy, and it sells a lot of books. Okay, I got an idea. and I want to know how many of you would like to go along with this. I would like as many of you who is up to it, who's got the gumption to do so, to contact Pastor John Hagee and ask him why in the past, when 4 blood moons appeared, like the tetrad, which is what that's called, when the tetrad appeared 11 years ago, and the few hundred other times that it appeared since Jesus walked the earth, and ask him why his fictional Armageddon never happened on one of those hundreds of occasions. Why now? Is it because he just learned something about blood moons and the fact that when 4 happen in a row, it's pretty rare, but it's not unique? So ask him. Ask him. And because as far as I'm concerned, he just brings new meaning to the word lunatic. And you can tell him I said so. And send him the link to this video. Alright everybody, happy Easter, have a good week, and subscribe and like, and I hope your Easter was a good one. Thanks.